States is about to attack, drop a bomb on its own soil, and frame Iran for it, to rally the troops of America to go off and fight for the pedophiles at the top. That's right. An intelligence leak has come through. The reason that Joseph Sumar relieved his duty of the USS West Virginia nuclear submarine was because he was approached by Pete Hegseth and the higher-ups in the Pentagon to carry out this mission, and he refused. He flat out told them that he refused to carry out that mission, that he would not drop bombs on American soil when there was no threat. This is what's coming. Just as the Black Swan event that happened in 9/11 was portrayed and was done by Israel and the United States so that they could attack Afghanistan and blame Osama bin Laden. None of that was true. Just as none of this, which they are saying on the news about Iran, saying that they are planning to attack U.S. soil with nuclear weapons. That is all a false flag. It is a false flag created by the United States government. This is what's coming. But the United States government has relieved that nuclear submarine commander, and the new one will definitely drop the bomb on American soil. This is what's coming. Do not be fooled. And to hide this, the United States government will 100% sink that submarine to the bottom of the ocean, and you'll never see any of those sailors again. That is what the American government is willing to do, to hide their hand when it comes to underhandedness. So this is what's coming. There's a false flag. America will bomb the United States to frame Iran for it, so that the United States can rally the troops and send hundreds of thousands of American men and women off to be killed to fight Iran. This is what's coming. Prepare your families. Do not be deceived. It's a false flag and a hoax created by the United States government. Prepare your families. We don't know where the bomb is going to drop, but the leak has come out and it's verified. So be ready. God loves you.
Shalom. First thing and foremost, I give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Bashimi Habushai, Bashim Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders of the great millstone that rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Noahs in the gospel, brothers, and understanding of Yahweh, Bashimi Habushai, wherever it may be. You heard him. I'm not familiar with who this guy is, but apparently he has some intel on why one of the generals have resigned, because they asked him to carry out a very deleterious attack or an offense towards his own citizens, which we always stated that a lot of these soldiers will not go up against their own people, because, you know, a lot of these soldiers still have some type of spirit of patriotism in them, and they believe that, you know, the Americans should receive the better end of the portion, since, you know, we've bought into the system. When I say we, meaning that we pay taxes, but as an Americans, we're American is just, that's not a nationality. It's a corporation, all right? It's like a culture, just like the Greeks, all right? We're the Israelites. We don't have any citizenship when it comes to what these people claim we are, but we understand we are slaves in this wicked kingdom, all right? Like Afro-American, that's a social construct that was put upon Jake to keep us hidden from our true identity, you know? But anyway, he was mentioning how America is getting ready to carry out an attack on its own soil. Well, that's nothing new. Okay. Hell, going back into Pearl Harbor. Hell, fucking even Vietnam. You know, they had no reason to get into that war. 9/11. And that's just a few of what America carried out attacks that really had nothing to do with them. Going back into the World Trade bombings. America, that was no threat to this soil. But in fact, that was your own government that did it via the orders of the small hats. This is why you have some which is called the dancing Israelis. Look it up. But anyway, long story short, you have a history of false flag attacks on this soil, from stage shootings to crisis acting to bombings to shit that America has carried out on its own citizens, and they blame other people for it. Prime example, going back into 9/11, they blamed Osama bin Laden, and it was those Afghanis going into the Iraq war of Afghanistan, the war in Iraq, and it was all under false guisemanship of TROR, which is not surprising because shit, that's what the devil do. So what this guy mentioned is not far-fetched, because we can expect it, and I've been saying it the whole time. I said that if anybody attacks his own soil, attacks the system, it would be America. It would be your own government that do it to be justified on attacking other countries, man. Because when you watch CNN or MSNBC and all these other propagated news channels, which is all propaganda for the most part, CNN, they give you their narrative instead of the narrative. Hell, when ByteDance sold TikTok to Larry Ellison last year, remember prior to that, they was trying to buy the hell out of TikTok because all the news that was coming out about what was going on in the West. But since then, there's been a total media blackout, because you got, what is it called, like Chinese Talk or some shit. It was like a different social media site that everybody was gearing over and going towards, because TikTok was pretty much changing up because the small heads invested in it. They were saying, like, you Americans don't really know what's going on outside of your country because you have a media block. The news has been lying to people, man, making you think. And Trump is just blatantly lying. He stated that, they got complete control of the straits. Well, if you had control of the straits, then why the hell is gas still damn near $4 a gallon? And why are we still in an energy crisis? If you have control over the strait, and if you actually defeated them and they're running out of weapons and they're begging for a negotiation, then why the hell are you still fighting them when you the one that claimed you wanted to come to the deal, man? It don't make any sense. This man is fucking lying, bro. He's lying through his teeth. America is not winning that war. And the Iranians, the Persians stated, look, they ain't want no deal. They ready to fight to the death. Okay, because the assassination of their leaders, and you're infiltrating the Strait of Hormuz, and you're trying to find a way on how to infiltrate a ground invasion in Iran. They don't want no peace. They want war with you, man. Trump was talking about locking people up that was saying that they ran out of ammo and missiles and all this other stuff because they've been supplying their top dollar ammunition to the small heads, and now Trump wants to come after anybody that made such a claim, right? Which proves that you devils are fucking in a losing battle. Okay, so they getting ready to invoke the ground invasion, and that's what Iran want. And I've been saying it for the longest, and even this guy, Canadian Prepper, went into it. He said if they're gonna do a ground invasion, they're gonna have to blitzkrieg it from all sides. I said that. I said they're gonna have to blitz it, and they're gonna have to use different outside forces from those Saudis, okay, because they have a league with the Saudi states. You're gonna have to use Britain. You're gonna have to use your allies to invoke an attack, where you're gonna have to draft up a lot of these jakes and just send them in their head first to be able to create a diversionary tactic so you can touch on the ground, But see, Iran, they're not itching to blow up the West right now as they say they would, because for the simple fact they know if they shoot missiles over here in the West, even though it's provoked, but if they shoot it in the position they're in now, they know that can risk a regional war with NATO, okay? And they're not trying to start a regional conflict, but though it's going to it. Hence, if they put boots on the ground in Iran, then China go get involved in it. Hell, a Russian naval ship was already destroyed. So therefore, I think Ukraine, if I'm not mistaken, destroyed the Iranian ship, if I'm not mistaken, or the other way around. Now that's directly getting Russia involved with this war with Iran and China versus America and the West, man. So either way it go, Esau, you getting ready to lock horns with this devil. Y'all getting ready to clash. Russia and America will eventually go to war. And that's Ezekiel 38. But in the meantime, what this guy was saying, they're getting ready to stage an attack on U.S. soil. And we know that a lot of false flag attacks, Nero did it. Okay, he burnt down parts of Rome, and then he blamed it on the Israelites. Okay, so that was a very common thing, problem, reaction, solution. That's been propagated all throughout the Roman Empire over 2,000 years ago. When things happen or when the opposing forces appear to invade, then they will blame it on the existing military or they will blame it on the Israelites. Will give them justify of rolling on us, man. Okay? So this is the book of, give me 1 second. This is the book of Job 27. And let me start at verse 7. It says, "Let my enemy be as the wicked." Okay? And this man is an enemy to even his own people. Because, like the dude said, he said that God resigned because he didn't want to partake in the blood with a massacre of such. Donating bombs on U.S. soil and blaming it on the enemy just so you can invade to appease B.B. Milkowski and the Small Hats and the Rothschilds, man. It says, "He that riseth up against me as the unrighteous, but for what hope is of the hypocrite, though we have gained when Yahweh have taken away his soul." Yeah, you know, because Esau is a big hypocrite. Even though you may gain certain leverage over certain nations, at the end of the day, the Lord is still going to destroy you. You know, and that's what this devil is not banking on, because his pride won't let him accept the fact that the Heavenly Father is getting ready to put him down in slavery, man. And it reads, I'm gonna go down to verses 12. It says, "Behold, all ye that have seen it," it says here, "then ye are thus altogether vain. But this is the portion of a wicked man with Yahweh, and the heritage of oppressors," right? Because you oppressing your own people, and you oppressing the entire world due to your bulldozing tactics, man. Want to confiscate resources here. Venezuela, they suffered a 7.2 and a 7.5 earthquake back to back. Cuba has suffered like the 5th blackout, all right, because the grid is down, and all of a sudden Colombia gets hit with a 7.4 magnitude, and I'm sure they have many quakes and many tremors that took place after that, and the dead is in the thousands. Okay, don't believe him when he say, "Oh well, it's 100." No, the dead is in the thousands easily, and that's what this devil ain't gonna tell you. This is why Marco Rubio was talking about dispatching troops to be an aid unto our people, but we know what that's all about. They gonna go down there and they gonna put that MOTB in your ass, and they gonna confiscate your resources, and they gonna unalive the men, and they gonna grape the women. And that's what Esau do. He has a history of that. But it says here, "which shall receive of the Almighty." Okay, so the scriptures call you a heritage of oppressors, man, because once again, you donate an attack on U.S. soil, and then you blame it on somebody else, and then you get your own people to go and be a suicide mission for you. That's unjust as all hell, man. And anybody that still believe in this system, hey, you seriously need your head examined, man, because all types of information is coming out that they had no business going down there, man. You know, and it's all taxpayers' money at the end of the day. Because now he's cutting all these programs because he needs $1.5 trillion to go to war. Wait a minute. I thought you just had $1 trillion. What happened? I thought you was winning a war. You need more fucking money? And that's going to come on your back of the working class, man, which is us. It says, "If his children be multiplied, it is for the sword, and his offspring should not be satisfied with bread." It's right, man. Okay? So let's go from here to the book of Psalms 52. And let's start at verses 2. It says, "Thy tongue devises mischiefs like a sharp razor working deceitfully." Yeah, when you lying and saying, well, yeah, you know, the Iranians are threatening U.S. soil. Ain't nobody threatening your ass. I mean, they are now, but regardless of it, like I said, they don't want to risk a regional conflict because they're not that reckless. Okay, their problem is with the Small Hats and you because you got involved. So now they're exposing you, bringing out these Lego videos, and the Small Hats are threatening to release more of the Epstein files if Trump don't comply. But basically, Trump turned his back on the American people, but yet people still go and support this devil. You know? And it reads, it says, "Thou lovest evil more than good, and lying rather than to speak righteousness." Yeah, because it's all based on a lie. What was supposed to be a 4-day war turned into 4 weeks, which was supposed to be over in 5 weeks. Now they went down there. February is March, April, May, June, July, August. They've been down in Iran or in the Straits for 6 months and ain't got a goddamn thing accomplished, man. It says, "Thou lovest all divine words, O thou deceitful tongue. So the power shall likewise destroy thee forever, and he should take thee away and pluck thee out of thy dwelling place and root thee out of the land of the living, right? Because the land of Israel, you don't belong in that land. That land is not given unto you. All right. Go to Book of Psalms. Because he's talking about, yeah, let's make a deal. Man, anybody trying to make a deal with you. What you got to offer? You ain't got nothing to offer these people. They don't want your goddamn Federal Reserve note. They don't want your central bank set up in their land. All right? They don't need that. For what? They have one of the most richest oil deposits on the planet Earth, which is responsible for 20% of the oil flow that goes through the straits in traffic and commerce and trade. And they don't need you, bro. A greenback ain't going to sustain that or substantiate that when it comes to value. All right. Psalms 58:2, it says, yeah, you work wickedness. You weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. Yep. You know, attacking your own people. And like I said, Esau has a history of false flag attacks. Matter of fact, let's do this. Let's look this up real quick. Oh, fuck. Was Rome known for staging attacks on Rome? Yeah. A lot of this is missed because some of it say no, but that's not true. You know, like why did Nero blame the burning of Rome? Like the scriptures say, there's nothing new under the sun on the Jews. Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second, brother Salakia. Give me 1 second, Salakia. What's going on?
What's wrong with you?
You said what's wrong with me?
No, I said what's going on with you.
Oh.
What's going on with you?
Oh, nothing much, man. Just in the field for real. It's hot as hell.
I did your request
Okay.
for 8 hours vacation on the 2nd of September.
Okay.
And then I seen another double time notification, and all it said was time request. Was there another request or something? Because it didn't have another request in here.
Nah, that was just a reminder in case you didn't see it the first time. So that was just the same one. So nah, that was the only one.
Oh, okay. So I'm like, I don't see that request. So.
Oh, nah, you good.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Just checking.
All right, appreciate it.
Uh-huh.
All right, bye-bye. Yeah, Salakia. Okay, so it says, hysterically, Emperor Nero did not blame the Jews for the Great Fire of Rome. Instead, he blamed the Christians. Same thing. It says, according to ancient Roman historian Tacitus, Nero targeted specifically newly emerging groups as convenient scapegoats to deflect intense public rumors that he had ordered the fire himself, a false flag. All right, it says, while mainstream Jews were not targeted in the fire, Christians or Israelites, same thing. Okay, you just had a sect that followed Yahweh Shai, and then some didn't. And some didn't believe Yahweh Shai was the Messiah. But it says, citizens heavily suspected Nero of starting a fire to clear the land for his massive personal palace, the Domus Aurea, the Golden House. Hey, didn't Trump want to build that golden statue and also the Mari logo shit? Let's look this up. The Domus Golden House. Let's do this. Versus today. in comparison. And sometimes you got to word this a certain way. To Trump's new ballroom in White House. Because we know Trump is Nero. The spirit adds up. The parallels is crazy. Peep this. It says, while separately in Slovakia, you know the spirit is like the wind. It says, while separately by nearly 2 millennia, Nero's Domus, which is 2,000 years ago, Nero's Domus Aurea Golden House and Donald Trump's new White House ballroom share striking architectural and psychological parallels. Both projects were initiated by leaders obsessed with gold aesthetics, implemented by bypassing standard institutional approvals, and heavily criticized as massive monuments of personal ego. Yep. However, they differ fundamentally in scale, purpose, and structure intent as outlined in the breakdown. All right. Of course, we know that the White House ballroom is 90,000 square feet, but this one was up to 300 acres, which is huge. The Roman Golden House, Nero's palace, relied heavily on gold leaf, ivory paneling, and semi-precious stones. Its most famous room was a dome ceiling dining room, which mechanically rotated to mimic the movement of the celestial spheres while dropping perfume and flower petals onto guests. Presidential ballroom. The White House ballroom reflects, and I heard that they're building a bunker under that bad boy, but the White House ballroom reflects Trump's signature Mar-a-Lago aesthetics. Architectural renderings depict this vast white structure featuring gilded Corinthian columns, intricate coffered ceilings, and heavy gold chandeliers, man. All right. The Roman tyranny Nero financed his massive palace by heavily taxing Roman provinces and looting wealth from temples, which severely damaged his popularity and contributed to his eventual overthrow in 68 AD, which he had a lot of Israelites in Syria put to death too. It says Trump's ballroom and projected cost is between 400 million and 600 million. Okay, so that's the comparison right there. So let's do this real quick. Shit. Hold on 1 second. Let me do this. We're gonna copy that, right? Come on, man. What the fuck? Well. Come on. Go. I gotta get a new phone, man. Let's do this. Look at some images. And this proves that this is Rome all over again, man. The Golden House. So let's look that up. The Domus Aurea, which is the Golden House. And you got the White House today. Let's look this up. It's a same architect. It's basically the White House at that time. Looked like Capitol Hill. That's crazy, man. Look like another version of Capitol Hill, because they had their concept of Capitol Hill too. But anyway, that's just a little point I wanted to make in there. Damn, precept I was getting ready to get. Let's go to... Oh, yeah, let's go to the book of Job, because they're exposing one another. Nope, Psalm 68. No, not Psalm 68. Shit. Why am I? Come on, priest. Think. We got to get new bodies, man. I just lost my whole train of thought. Looking for the scripture in it's Psalms 64. There we go. Psalm 64. Psalm 64, and I'm gonna start at verses 6. Matter of fact, 5. It says they encourage themselves in an evil matter, and they commune of laying snares privately. Yeah, that's a snare privately laid. You know. This fucking dude. That's a snare privately laid. And it says, in the heart of them is deep, but Yahweh shall shooteth them with an arrow, and suddenly they should be wounded. So they should make their own tunnel fall upon themselves, and all that see them shall flee should flee away. Yeah. You know, these attacks, they all exposing one another. That's why it tells us in Job that he's going to be brought into a snare by his own feet, roughly paraphrasing. I think this may be Job 18. And let's start at verses... Not Job 23, Job 18. Job 18. Yep, and I'm going to start at verses 7. It says, the steps of his strength should be straightened. Yeah, difficulties. And his own counsel should cast him down. For he is cast into a net by his own feet, and he walketh upon a snare, right? A trap. Because at the end of the day, he's getting ready to fall by his own deceit. Because Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is going to turn the tables upon that nigga. But anyway, with that, all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Lord's will you edify. To the next lesson. Shalom.